Right, I'm sitting with Derek Gough and a friend of Derek's. You okay for me to just introduce you as that? And we're going to talk about Derek's experience when he requested information about UFOs from people who had had sightings in Brecon Beacon area. So is that where the story starts, Derek, with you putting the notice up?
Yes, yeah.
Was that what year was that then?
1996, November.
Okay, so if you could explain from there, from maybe your interest in UFOs first, and then what you did.
Well, my interest in UFOs started when I was a child. But going on from there, it was, we had an incident in Aberfan in October 96. After that incident, I was really interested, so I thought I'd try to do my own investigations, information on UFOs. So I compiled some posters, went up to the area of Cwmcadlan, near Brecon, up near the Story Arms, and put them up on trees.
Right.
Because it's a visitor centre as well. That was on the 2nd of November, 96. On 6th of January 97, I had a phone call, which I wasn't home at the time, stating that a gentleman would like to speak to me in regard to a poster that somebody given him would been up there,
right,
who was in the military. Okay. And the story went from there. He gave me the gist on the phone what it was about, and he said it's more serious than lights in the sky, and I arranged to meet him.
Okay, so were you in his car or your car when you
I met him, but I parked a considerable distance away to see, because of the nature of the what he told me on the phone. I was a bit wary of who he was.
Right. Okay.
And he did say he was in special forces.
Right.
To interrupt slightly, you had a number of phone calls which took place over quite a number of days, during which time it became quite evident that Derek's phone was being tapped.
Okay. So you were speaking to this guy several times on the phone before you met with him?
Yes, I did.
Right. Now, at the time...
What made you think the phone was tapped?
Well, we knew that the phone was... we suspected the phone was tapped. It might not necessarily have happened at that time, but eventually the phone was definitely tapped.
Right.
And what actually happened is that this person wanted to meet Derek on his own.
Right.
At night. And I was very suspicious from the background information that was coming through that Derek should go anywhere alone with this guy. So I said to Derek, I said, well, ask him if I can come with him. And the reply came back, no, Derek's got to go on his own. So eventually an appointment was made for Derek to go and contact this guy at an isolated pub somewhere, or...
That's Nelson.
Nelson. And Derek went there with his partner at the time. And Derek arrived at the... You can interrupt if I'm not telling the story as it is, or you can carry on. You want to carry on from there? At the time, Derek and his met this guy, turned up early for the appointment, and he parked up, and eventually this guy arrived in a car, sort of circled the area and went back and circled there, and eventually came and said, "Are you Derek?" And Derek said yes. He said, "Well, I told you to come on your own." Well, no, he said. Derek said, "I'm not coming on your own. I brought someone else with me." So, did you get out of your car and go in his car, or did he go in?
No, I went in his car.
If you tell us what happened from there, Derek.
Well, I introduced myself. He said, "Would you like? Whose car were you using?" So I said, he said, "Can we use mine?" I said, "Yeah, fair enough." So my partner at the time jumped in the back seat. I jumped in the front. Before we started off, before the car was started, he showed me his documents, which was a card, like a credit card size, perhaps a little bit smaller than that. And it had an emblem on it. I'm not sure the emblem, but it was like a credit card then, with that little silver thing on it. And on the top it was NATO. This is who I am. He gave me his V5, which is from his documents for his car, to prove who he was. Yeah. I had already taken his number plate anyway, to check myself. So I knew who he was, and then he stated that he was in this group 5-8, part of the special forces, And then we
set
went
up.
on.
Can I just interrupt? I believe that he said that the group was set up at the instigation of Margaret Thatcher.
No, not at that time. It was
Right.
just...
You didn't
Okay.
say that at that time. You said
No,
this
the
later.
interview was, I am this is me, proving who he was.
Did it have his photograph on the card?
No, it didn't have nothing on it, nothing
Right,
at all.
But it said NATO.
Yeah, and he had other military documents as well,
Right.
passes for RAF St Athens and Minley Barracks.
You have this guy's name, but you're not. You don't want to give that to me.
No.
Not yet, no, it's not...
That's fair enough.
it's a bit... You know,
Yeah, I understand.
even though he did go a bit mental anyway, but we jumped in the car, we started off, we went up to Caerphilly, down to Cardiff. I mean, he must have been doing 25, 30 miles an hour. I mean, on the A470,
Right.
that's slow. We carried on talking, and he started telling me about, he was on find and secure. That's what his job was, find and secure.
Find and secure.
Yeah, when objects came down, up that area.
Right.
Now we said there's a satellite system up that area in Sennybridge, which comes up from around. He said, I can't say, he said they know, they're waiting for something, they're waiting for them up there.
Right.
So we carried on the conversation. My partner was taking notes and about writing, but then he come out with some photographs. Stopped the car in a lay-by.
Right. Just before you go on to that, Derek, you said that there was a satellite system, so there was something in space which is looking for UFOs. Is that
No,
what you're
there's
saying?
something up in Brecon,
Oh,
watching the skies in Brecon.
There's something in Brecon watching the skies
Yeah,
for
'cause
UFOs.
He said they come down from the north.
The UFOs do.
Yeah, and that's how we had his hands. They come
Right.
down from the north, he said, and they're waiting for them.
North Wales.
Well, north of the country then.
Right.
They're coming through the north.
I think he also said that they know when something is going to be there.
Right.
They know when there's activity taking place, and they know that.
He said he can get from RAF St Athens to Brecon in 10 minutes.
Right.
That's how
far
fast it
How
is.
far is that?
30 miles.
Yeah.
Right. The UFO does.
No, he can.
Oh, he can.
He can get from there up there because they called out up to
This
that
is in a
area.
helicopter.
Yeah,
Right. And did he say how many was in his team when they go out to these?
5.
Okay.
Hmm.
And are they all in army?
All in army fatigues, yeah.
Right.
But the important thing about it is when these objects came down, their job is to find and secure an area.
Find and secure. Okay. Did he? Can I just interrupt you again there? Did he say where this place in Brecon was that was actually looking out for the UFOs?
It's up on top of the hill on Halfway, which is a little village up in Brecon, just down from Sennybridge.
Called
Halfway,
Halfway. And there's a facility there, yeah.
up on top, yeah. That's where the military training ground is.
So it's okay. And does it have a telescope, or does it use radar? How,
No,
do you know how it's detected?
there's buildings up there, but
Right.
there's red lights everywhere. When you
Right.
go up in the nights,
So that's
it's military property.
And can you get near that at all? Is it difficult to?
There is.
You can. There's a main road going right through that place,
Right.
but you're not allowed to stop
Right.
because it's straight through. There's no lay-bys there.
There's a road that leads over the military range.
Right.
And when you go there, providing that the red flag is not flying, you can go over there and you can come out at the other side.
Right.
And that is a place where the TA and the army do their training.
Right.
And the SAS.
Yeah.
There's a villager.
Yeah.
Right. But you think this guy was in a group which you said was above the SAS, which he told you later. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
yeah.
told us later that it was set up at the instigation of Margaret Thatcher.
Right. So if you carry on from where you were then, Derek, he said that these
Objects.
track
can-
these objects.
Yeah,
They know
then-
when they're going to be there before they're even on radar. Is that
Yeah,
what he
yeah,
did?
yeah.
Right.
And he said
He
they come
didn't
in.
say how they knew they were going to be there before they were
No,
on
well,
radar.
he went on a little bit later then,
Okay.
where he come up to the satellite situation, and he said, I said, well, I've been up there, and I can't see it. And he said, you won't see it. He said, because it comes up from the ground.
So it's underground,
Yeah.
what they're using to detect
Yeah,
the
the
UFOs.
well, it comes up from the ground and
Up from
does,
the ground.
yeah.
Right. Do you think he meant that there was satellites in space that were being used as well, or not?
No, I think it was ground-based. Like you
Ground-based.
said, they're waiting for him up there. Up in Sennybridge. They're waiting for him.
Right. Okay.
And it's a massive place.
So there's something under the, just to labour it, I sound like so there's something under the ground you think that was being used to detect them.
He says it comes up from the ground, but only you won't see it in the day because it comes up from the ground in the night.
You mean the UFO does?
No,
No, the satellite
the
system.
satellite system.
The
Oh,
tracking
so it
system.
Or
actually
radar,
physically
whatever it
comes
is.
up from under the ground.
Yeah.
I see, right. So it's just hidden underneath the ground and
Yeah.
the door's open or something and it comes
Yeah.
up and then that's used to detect them.
Yeah, and I said, that's why I can't see it in the day then.
Right. So it's possibly radar then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. So
So on his conversation, on his road trip, pulled into a lay-by, I think it was somewhere between Caerphilly and Cardiff, and put his hand in his pocket and then took out these photographs. Colour, full colour. Asked me, was I alright, with the feeling of seeing something I wouldn't be sure of. And I said, yeah, you know, thinking of being a bit naive. Showed me the photographs, and it's just, mouth went dry, just something that you think, I'm in a car with this man and he's showing me these. You know what I mean? And he was a big bloke, like.
Right.
What were the photographs of, Derek?
Okay.
A girl and boy. Girl of 16, boy of 21.
Right.
So I ain't going through it now, so I can't...
It's difficult for you to
Can't do
explain it. Right. So there were 11 photographs.
Hmm.
Right. And...
No genitals had gone.
Just take your time.
Teeth missing, that's
Yeah.
just... and the boy had... Most of his skin was peeled off. All the top layer, just red. It's just horrifying.
Right.
And that was horrifying enough on its own, but to think that he'd in a car with this man, and my partner in the back, I mean, I think I'm a bit handy, but compared to this guy, after what I seen, I thought, and I'm stuck in the middle of this.
Right.
Anything could have happened to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So just to specifically ask you about the injuries, Derek, if that's okay, did you see any edges of flesh cuts or anything like that?
No, just no genitals, nothing.
Right, okay.
All gone.
But there weren't any, I mean, like in the animal mutilation cases, you have certain characteristics.
No, where the genitals are, there was like a circle, like
A circle.
gone out. Like
Just-
something, a cutter had gone in, but it was,
Like a cutter had gone in and taken them out. Okay.
yeah, it's just, but there was no mess, eh?
No mess.
Which I understand now, but I didn't understand then. But now I know about
Right.
this blood thing that
Right.
carries on. I mean, it's just clean cut. It was just like somebody had put a cutter in and
Right.
taken it.
So just to get them, we'll quickly list them. So the genitals were gone on both the male and the female.
Yeah.
Right. And what about the breasts on the
Gone.
female?
No, nothing. No teeth. No eyes.
No teeth, no
Lips
eyes.
are gone.
Okay. And were they decomposed at all?
No.
Is
That's
this-
another
right, okay.
funny thing.
And was the skin gone on the entire bodies on both of them then? or-
No, just on the boy.
on the boy. So he
He
had
said it's like
skin-
somebody just peeled it off,
right,
all the top part.
right. And but the girl had her head hair removed and all of her.
All the hair had gone. It's like if it looked like a newborn child that had been, but had grown up, you know, born
Right,
like that. Nothing.
right,
No
okay.
facial hair, nothing at all.
So she just had genitals removed. and
Breast,
breast removed.
lips.
Lips.
No, well, if I say eyes, the eyes were sunken in then.
Okay.
And he said to me that when he checked it, because he got to check for certain things, possibly life, there was nothing there.
And did it look as though the chest cavities and stomach area were sunken at all, or did they look like normal?
No, they looked, well, the breast was just like somebody had sliced the breasts off,
Okay.
and it was just red there, just that
Right.
deep colour of red, but
Okay.
there was nothing coming down the sides
Right.
or...
So was any blood dripping on the carpet?
No, nothing
or-
at all,
okay,
nothing.
So right. Okay.
Can I just interrupt at the moment? This was shown to you on the first visit that you
Yeah.
had with him, because you had more than one visit.
Yeah, first time I was.
This is the first time that you've ever met this guy. You're in his car, and he shows you these photographs. And this was late at night, wasn't it?
Yes, about 8:15 in the night.
8:45 at night.
I think we met him at 7:30, and then we carried on. It might have been 8 o'clock.
And it was dark at the time, of course,
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
was in the winter.
Right.
And on the first occasion, he showed you these these photographs. How long were you out with him that particular night? Do you remember?
Well, hour and a half. I mean, from Caerphilly down to Cardiff, and then back up doing 25, 30 miles an hour.
Right.
The reason why I said I'm going slow, because I thought, after seeing his foot, I wanted him to put his foot down.
Right.
And it was a powerful car.
Sure. Just before we move on, Derek, just to ask you again about the mouth, the lip. You said the lips are removed. Was it go up to the jaw, or was it just around?
Just gone.
Just the lips missing.
It was
were
like,
they-
I can't describe it. It's, I don't know, it's strange when you I can see the photos now. It's just,
So it's certainly not an animal predator.
no, there were no marks on it, just clean cut. It's like,
Did he say where these photographs were taken?
yes, he did. Well, I asked him that.
Yeah.
And
And where was that?
Up in Brecon Beacons.
Up in the Brecon Beacons area. Right.
And did he explain to you what their part of the mission was in dealing with those corpses? Just tell us what he said.
Wait for the military to turn up.
Right.
American. The Americans always turned
So
up.
their role was to go there, seal the area off,
Find and secure.
find and secure,
And do nothing else.
and then do nothing else. So they weren't allowed to touch them.
Nope, nothing.
Right. Then they had to wait for the Americans.
Yes.
Right. And did he say what the Americans then did with the?
There was a police officer was called up to the military range up in Brecon. Top military police officer, I think it's above inspector, and they were told he tried to intervene on the investigation that was going on because it was in between public land and military land.
Right.
And the American officer said to the gentleman that I was I'd been in touch with, if he doesn't go, he said, shoot him.
Right.
That's how bad it was, he said.
Right.
And he said, believe in me, if he hadn't gone, he said, I would have to done it. I was under orders, I had to do it.
So this team he was in were under orders from the American.
Always Americans, he said,
Right.
always.
Okay.
And that's not the first time. He said he had other photos as well. This is where this other gentleman that we're talking about from Yorkshire got more information out of him again, and other photographs.
Can we name that?
Yeah, Tony Dodd.
Tony Dodd, because he. Okay. And did the SAS? Well, it's not SAS. We'll say Group 5-8 guy. Did he speak to Tony Dodd?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was in direct touch.
Well, I phoned Tony Dodd a couple of years before he died. I asked him how it was going on, and he said, "You don't know the half of it."
Right.
And it's a good job that you gave me the information that you give.
Right. So Tony Dodd may have had more information than you got off this guy.
He had a hell of a lot more. Yeah.
Right.
Where I had my fire and things started happening to me suspiciously, that I didn't. I left it alone. I didn't want it in the beginning. I didn't want the story.
Firstly, you met him on the one occasion,
Okay,
and
so you continue. Yeah.
and you arranged to meet him again.
Yeah.
So he showed you the photographs on the first time, 11 photographs. Did he give you the photographs at that point or not?
No, not then.
Right.
No.
So did he tell you what they do with the bodies when the Americans take them away?
RAF St Athens.
Say again?
RAF St Athens.
RAF St Athens.
The north side.
The north side.
That's coming up from Barry.
So that was where they would always go.
Yes.
And then presumably you don't know where after that. Or
That's where the Americans were.
Right.
Down in an hangar, he said. It was a big building on the north side coming up from, as you're coming through Barry towards Cardiff. It's on the north side, you can see it there, he said.
right. And you've got. Do you have any information that they're still using that?
I haven't now, but it is a dodgy area anyway, that place. But it's at that time, perhaps it's no longer there. Perhaps the building is
Right,
no longer
okay.
there, as far as I know.
Okay. So, yeah.
On other visits, the next visit that you had with the guy, did he take you up to the Brecon Beacons to show you where things happened?
Yeah, he showed me burn marks.
Burn marks.
Yeah.
What's that?
In the grass.
Burn marks in the
Oh,
grass.
burn marks. Right.
Size of bigger than this room.
Right.
There's nothing grew on it. It's
So
brown.
bigger than this room. We're in a room about what, 20 odd feet long. So you said 20 feet. Burn.
There was no. It wasn't. It was just a massive piece of burnt ground. Nothing on it. It wasn't, as people say, marked little circles. It was just one big massive circle.
So they asked the Group 5-8 guy. He was saying that this is where UFO had landed. Is that
Yeah.
right?
And was this in the military area or outside the military area?
Military.
It
Inside
was in the military ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the actual
Okay.
Where
so,
those
training ground.
big things are.
Yeah. Okay.
So did he give you the impression then that the military really have got no control over the UFO? The UFO is doing its own thing, and they're there to clean up afterwards. Is that?
That's what he said. What he didn't understand was, I had to ask him the question, how did you take photographs? I mean, it's not your job.
Yeah.
But he said, we've seen so much of this in the UK and elsewhere
Really.
that we started carrying these little cameras around.
Right.
And he said, for our own, what was the word he used? What's that? For their own, can't think of the word now. For their own reason then, I mean,
Yeah.
because they couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to have them developed, he had to give them to a special friend of his
Right.
who was
Obviously.
into
Yes.
developing.
Now he said different areas.
Hmm.
Did he name any other areas?
No.
He didn't. Did he allude that there was other countries or just the
other countries, yeah.
other countries?
Yeah, he did on about...
At one stage, did he not tell you about an area in Scotland?
that's... Yes.
But that's at a later...
It's a later time I was...
So would they be dispatched from Wales then to go and recover?
RAF St Athens, that's where he was based.
He was based... So
Like
they could go to another country or Scotland as far as that to secure these areas?
You listen to the tapes from that. He said if they could be... the fast response, they could be anywhere. And they also had planes at their disposal.
Right.
And get anywhere. If it is to do within British jurisdiction, they would be there.
Right.
But the Americans would also be there as well.
Right. And did he say, if it was somewhere that was more remote, did he say how they found out about the cases? I mean, was it...
Radar.
So it was...
Again.
So it was... So they can pick up the UFOs on radar and they can differentiate that it's a UFO then, presumably.
What he said, but he can't say they know nothing about him because they're waiting for him.
Say that again?
They can't say they know nothing about him because they're waiting for him.
Right, okay, yeah.
Did he give you the impression that sometimes he was sent to areas before the UFOs arrived?
Yeah,
Right.
on the expectation.
All right, so they'd be dispatched before the UFOs arrived. That's interesting. But he didn't... Did he say anything about how they would know that?
No, they were sent to Salisbury Plain.
Mm-hmm.
Things are happening down there that they was talking about mutilations down there as well.
Now that's the next question I was going to ask you. Did he say that he was ever dispatched to deal with animal cases as well?
Nope, humans. All
It
humans.
was always humans. Okay.
I mean, I didn't... To be honest with myself and to this interview, I didn't believe in human mutilations.
Right.
I've heard of animal mutilations. I thought it was just like a butcher doing,
Right.
whatever he does. But when you come to the human aspect of it, it's a totally different ballgame, and
Right.
I didn't like it.
Okay. So...
At
go on.
any time, Derek, did he mention any mutilations were taking place other than in Wales, in Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland, Ireland.
Right.
Now we're talking about places in Ireland which comes under the Republic, which is County Wicklow,
Mm-hmm.
Kilkenny.
Right.
I don't know what, I know Kilkenny is a bit iffy, but that's the Republic. Why would these military be in that part of, which is not part of our...
I mean, do you think there's any correlation between where they happened and, like, mountainous terrain areas?
Mountainous.
It's generally mountainous area. I
Like-
mean, I've that's a leading question. I maybe shouldn't have asked it like that, but that's the impression that I get.
Well, if you're talking about, like you said, in Brecon, I mean, what I seen from those photographs, they weren't the first up there.
Mhm.
They wasn't the first. I mean, he went on to say about that girl and boy. What I still can't understand is how we knew the girl was 16 and how the boy was 21.
Right,
How did he know that? They were already dead.
right. And were they laid out on the ground, or were this...
Perfectly. I'm glad you asked that question. Absolutely perfect. It's like if it were somebody just placed them down, like if they gone to
Okay.
sleep.
And presumably, they were in their... When they were taken, presumably they were in their car originally.
Yes, yeah.
Correct, okay.
But the front seats were missing. I don't understand the thing about the front seats missing from a vehicle.
Right.
Doors open, engine running, but the seats had gone.
He told you that there was a car in the vicinity.
So was this not another case, though? Was this not the camper van?
Oh, that's the camper one is a more disturbing one because of, like he says, where there were toys in it.
Right, so the 16-year-old girl and the 21-year-old man,
That was a car.
That was a car, and the seats were gone,
Yeah, front seats.
and the engine was running with the doors
Yeah,
open.
which I don't
and
understand.
They were laid out on the ground. Okay,
Some distance away, not.
so not
Close
right
to-
next to the car.
no.
Right. Okay.
They found the car first,
Right.
and then
Found
went
the- right.
on their little exercise to
Okay.
see what else it was around.
So, do you want to continue the rest of the story after you've had the first visit with him? You then came away, him having told you this information.
Nightmares.
What actually happened is that after Derek's first interview, he gave me a ring, and I think I came up and asked you questions, and we discussed what had gone on.
Did you make any notes at that point?
I didn't know.
Right.
You got the tape, or
I got the tape, yes.
That's between the two of you.
Yes.
the interview he done for me
Right.
on tape?
So you've got that.
Yeah.
Have you shared that with anyone in the past at all? Or?
No.
It's never gone anywhere.
Should we at this stage point out that because you were going there on your own, that you actually, we actually wired yourself up
Yeah.
so that what conversations took place in the car are recorded.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I didn't tell him about.
Right, okay, so you've still got that?
No.
All right, you haven't?
Disappeared of those people, the people that we spoke about earlier.
Can we name them in this?
Not Tony.
You don't want to?
No, it wasn't Tony Hard. It was,
No, Neil. Well, I can.
No, Neil Springer knows a hell of a lot. Well, knows everything that went on. He listened to the tapes, and if you ask him, I think he got copies of the tape.
All right, he's took copies, but there are other. Right, go on.
But he's taken. Of course, his stuff went missing.
Neil Spring's stuff went missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the first visit that you were shown the photographs.
Yes.
And I came up to your house and we discussed what went on.
Yeah, but I met him 2 days after that.
Right, you met him 2 days after that. What happened on the next 2 days? Is that the time that he took you up to show you where the things was happening?
No, we carried on. We'd done the Cardiff trip again.
Right.
But I asked him to see the photographs again.
Yeah.
Then I decided, after seeing them, I mean, the first thing, I was glad to get home, but after seeing them a second time, I got to be honest with you, after you've seen something and you get up in the morning, you can't believe what you've seen.
Yeah.
So in the conversation that very next day, which was the Tuesday, 7th of January, I asked him to meet again because I wanted to talk to him, asking some more questions. Like I said to him, what can I do with the information? He said, you can do anything with the information as long as you don't give my name.
Right.
So I asked him for the photographs again. Upon seeing them, I decided on that Wednesday night, I decided to go to the police on Thursday morning, which I did.
On Thursday morning. You didn't have the photos then, though?
I had them.
Oh, he gave you some?
Yeah.
Did he give you copies and originals? Or?
Copies, no, you wouldn't get...
Were they colour copies then?
Yeah, full colour.
So he gave you full colour copies? Of what, all 11 photographs?
Yeah, glossy, very glossy, not this shiny things they were.
Right, okay. So, and how many were there?
11.
11 photos.
Which I made copies
Just be
of.
careful with that, because if you touch the wire, it'll...
Which I made copies of.
Right. So you then made your own copies?
Yeah, which I had to, for my own well-being.
Yeah.
And then I gave the 11 photographs to the police, South West Police,
Yeah.
which was Detective Constable Adams from Richplanet Police Station.
Right.
He said that they were going to arrest him that very minute after I'd come from there. Went home, went back in the morning. I come in back in the morning to see what happened. Went there. Could I speak to Detective Constable Adams, please? He's gone on holiday.
Can I just...
And you had given them all 11 photographs?
Yeah, that's where they'd gone to arrest him.
They went to arrest him. Go on.
Can I just begin to get things in time perspective? On the second night that you met him, you started off by going over what he told you the first time.
Yeah.
How many times did you meet him altogether? Was it 2 or 3?
Three
Right,
times.
2.
Right.
So on the second occasion you met him, and it's at that time that he showed you different areas where things had happened.
Yeah.
And it's on the third occasion
Saturday night.
that you met him. I think it was very late at night, wasn't it? So on the third occasion that you met him, you were going over, reminiscing what had happened on the previous occasion, like we discussed, and it's at that time that that he was changing his story slightly, and you were reminding him what he told you, and you were going over what he told you, and you said he said this. No, I didn't. He said, but it's at this time that you revealed that you had actually taped the conversation.
Yes, and he went absolutely mental.
So this was the third time you met him. You told him that you'd recorded the
That's
first
right.
one, and he went mental.
Yeah, but he already knew that because of the police.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, the police had been to him by this time.
well, alleged. I can't say they did.
So you went to see him after you'd been to the police.
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
which is a big mistake.
Right.
You see, I think that Derek was bothered about the fact that there were mutilated humans that he had photographs of, and that the people might have been murdered or
Yeah.
whatever. You
Couldn't
didn't
be
know.
100% of what.
He didn't really know
Yeah.
what was happening, did you?
No.
Did you actually go to? Did you actually go to the police whilst you were still in contact with him, or did you go to the police after?
No, I went to the police after I seen him the second time.
After you'd seen him the second time.
Because I wanted no more to do with him after seeing that. when you look at photos like that, you try to reason with yourself. I mean, you're looking for excuses to not to believe what you're seeing.
Yes.
You turn them around and think, oh, it might be this, might be that. But when you look at it and you keep giving you photos after photos and you keep looking at it, you think, God, this is...
Right.
It's mind-boggling because I didn't want the story.
So the third time you saw him, had he been arrested?
No, that's the whole thing about it. I mean, when I went back down to the police station, which was on the Thursday morning, to speak to this police officer, he gone on holiday.
Right, okay, so...
I mean, you're talking about murder inquiry, alleged, which he should have been.
Yeah, so the police have obviously been told to back off.
Yes, which I'm not known for my patience anyway, and I actually punched this police officer in the chest.
Right.
Not hard, which should have been assault.
Right.
She's been arrested, which I wanted. Because I had a trouble reasoning with all this. My head was
because
all
you
in
felt you were
disarray.
being fobbed off by...
No, my head was gone because of what I was saying. I didn't believe,
Yes,
I couldn't
right.
believe that this is happening today.
Okay.
I had never heard of any mutilations of humans ever in my life, except for one. And I only learnt of that about 2 years before. I mean, if you read a book and there's only one, it looks as if the book had been set on fire in Brazil. That's all it looked like.
Right.
But when you're actually seeing something that you don't want to see and you never asked for, all I wanted was a light in the sky, something exciting. That's all I wanted.
Could I just interrupt at this stage and ask him, did the guy give any reason as to why he was talking to you at this time, and did he give you any background of himself?
He told me he wanted to do it because they've had enough of it. It's happening all the time.
Right.
He said, we got children, i.e. his group, we got children, and something got to be done about it.
Right.
He didn't find my poster up on there. A colleague of his found it when he took his children up to that area to buy a Christmas tree.
Right.
Which would have been December then when they seen the poster up there. I laminated it anyway and stuck it to a tree, so it would have been, and it's full of forestry. So they'd, so that's what they done. Somebody went up there with his children to buy Christmas trees and see Santa, seen that up, took it down, which he showed me. This your poster.
Yeah.
My number was on it, and my house number, and that's...
Is there any other background information that you can give about the guy himself? What did he tell you? Did he? I think I'm right in saying that he told you that the group had actually been disbanded.
No, not then. He had then, but he had left that group about 2 years. Still in the army.
Okay, so the actual time that he took the photographs would have been 2 years previous to when he contacted
Yes, when he was
you.
there, so it had been
95.
94, 95.
94, 95.
And
he wasn't in this secret group when he met you anymore.
But he still had his thing with him, didn't he?
Right, okay.
He still had his NATO.
Right.
yeah, I think that his reasons for coming forward at this time was because the group had been disbanded and he had nightmares and he wanted to the story to come out, providing that he wasn't mentioned.
So can
Is
I
that
just
right?
ask then, if these cases are still going on, which they possibly would be, why would they disband the group? Did he say what was happening in 1997 with regards to sealing off areas? Did he think they were still involved in that activity?
He said it's still going on.
It's still going on, but so presumably another group's looking after it, perhaps. Do you think? Or
I think there's another group. When I was talking to him why they have disbanded this, and he said it's to do with cuts, which if you look at the dates now, Major,
yeah,
John Major stopped it.
right. Okay, so that was just before Blair got in '97, didn't he? So Major would have been in '95, '94, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
John Major knocked it on the head, he said, because it was costing too much.
but I mean,
But he still had his badge, see? That's the odd
the
thing
guy
about
still
it.
had his badge. Okay, so we're not sure what happened to the group.
Could I just come and get one thing clear? Is that when you first met him, did he give his correct name?
No, he gave me
A false name?
false name.
Right.
Did he give you an address
Yeah, which is false.
and a false address?
I took his registration anyway.
Right. So when you reported him to the police,
Oh, I knew where he was then.
by that time you knew his
Oh,
real,
I knew
his real
everything
name.
about him then.
Right.
I had his V5 anyway,
Right.
and his badge. No, perhaps just me. When I meet somebody, you look at something, carry on.
Yeah.
Because he told me his name, and of course I didn't recollected with what I seen on his hand. I didn't ask him. I said, "Can I see that again?" "Oh, it's in my pocket now." That sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean, it was so surreal that all I wanted was, as soon as he opened his mouth and told me what it was about, I thought, poof, that's it.
Right.
I want pretty lights in the sky, that's all I want.
So the third time you saw him, you'd already reported this to the police. Did he then contact you to say, "Can I see you?" Or how did you meet him the third time if you've already
I had to play a game. Did have to play a game. I've done various things, which I shall tell you off tape after.
Right.
That I've done, which I should have been arrested for on numerous occasions.
So you basically you fell out with him. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
He fell out with him because of the fact that he leaked the fact to the guy that everything that he had said was on tape.
Right.
And he didn't know that, and that's where the falling out came.
I hadn't informed him.
He didn't want to be recorded.
No.
And was this a telephone call, or
Derek was wired up and he had
in the car? Right.
He had the wire attached to his.
And what I had to do is to stop every few miles, because it was only a small tape, 60, I think 30 minutes either side. I had to stop, pretend to I want to go to the toilet in the edge, turn the tape over, and I was doing that sort of thing.
Right. So did he tell you then, after you've then gone and told the police, did he indicate that he had heard from his superiors at all?
No, I went to see him to give him some grief over another matter, because the thing was starting to happen then to me, and I didn't like it. I went down to his house. I got in touch with the police officer in Merthyr first, so to tell him what was going on. So I went to his house to tell him, but he already knew. I mean, there was no mention of the police gone to his house.
Right.
All he was his interest was that I'd mentioned his name.
Right. Okay.
That I had taped the conversation. Nothing about the police going there.
Right. Okay.
When eventually I got in touch with DC Adams, I said, what happened then? Because I wasn't happy anyway. Oh, I'll tell you what happened. He said, this man seen a light in the sky a couple of years ago and he thought he'd have a laugh with you. Bearing in mind what the story is, mind.
All right. The police officer said that to you?
That's his exact words.
The police officer said to Derek, "We've interviewed the guy. He said he was in the Territorial Army. He said he was pulling Derek's leg and just wanted to make..."
He seen a light in the sky a couple of years ago and he thought he'd have a laugh. I thought, no, but that story you didn't. There's no way.
Right.
You couldn't come up with that story, could you? It's not in any book that I've seen.
So didn't you say that you thought that CID had got involved, possibly? Or
that Detective Constable Adams, he was going to arrest him there and then. I mean, I wasn't allowed. You're not allowed to stay. How could he be brought back here and he don't want you to see?
Right.
Because nothing ever happened.
Right.
I mean, I went back in the morning. Police officers had gone on holidays. Strange that he had murdered and quiet and he'd gone on holidays. When I asked to see someone else, a policewoman came in and a man at the back. And being CID, dressed in plain clothes, I haven't got a clue who they were.
So you don't know who they were, but there was some plain clothes officers that...
Woman I was talking to, because if you look at the psychology of people crossing grade, if a woman talks to a man, it seems to be all subdued and it's not so much. But of course, there was a man in the back there,
right,
standing there with his arm folded.
When they were talking to you?
Yeah, when she was talking to me, saying that, oh, you seen a light in the sky a couple of years ago.
All right, so there was two plain clothes officers that you hadn't seen before came in to tell you that he'd just seen a light
in the interview room. In the interview room.
In the interview room, and there was another man in that room. You weren't told who these people were?
He was right in the corner, just stood
there. So
there.
they could have been MI5 or anything.
Could have been anybody,
yeah.
Did you lose your temper at that stage?
Yes, I lost complete control.
Right, okay. So you were getting really annoyed that they weren't actually going to investigate this guy.
Oh, but I had to start doing this bit of assault thing. I had to keep pushing and touching him. You know, if you touch a police officer, it comes under assault.
Right.
If you get arrested, I would have gone to the court, and then I could have told the story.
Right. So you were trying to get a reaction because you were upset.
And I wanted to be arrested. I wanted to be arrested, so when I went to court, I could say, right, this is why I done this, because of the story.
Okay.
They didn't bite.
Okay. Right, that's interesting.
So you're not you're going to tell the story afterwards about other things that happened, but not on the tape. Is that right?
Well,
if you just first, Derek, he told you detail of some other cases. There was a camper van.
All up Brecon.
Okay, was that the second time you met him, or when was that?
Oh, he told me so much the first night.
First night.
When those photographs appeared, he said they're not the only ones. He was also marked, which he showed me on his arms, radiation.
Right.
Ended up in a military hospital.
This is by UFO.
Under counselling. But the people that was counselling him had very special ways of asking him questions.
Right.
This is why I think he came out with a story to me.
Okay.
Because he had
I think at one stage of the proceedings that he told you that every so often he had to go for debriefing at Aldershot.
yeah.
Aldershot.
Yes. He kept
Each of them.
Which facility is that at Aldershot? Is it an RAF base? That was just
Army, I thought, didn't it? Aldershot?
Possibly.
There's a big army camp there.
right. Okay,
yes.
so he would go
But
for debriefing.
he had to go. Did he say how often he had to go there?
Oh, every couple, I think it's twice a year he had to go, didn't he? All of them.
Yeah,
Right.
they had to go to Aldershot for debriefing, and
Psychological counselling, he called it.
Right.
right.
To see how they were feeling about things and what was happening. But he said, being trained the way we are, we couldn't let on that we was bothered by what we were doing.
Right.
Would the interviews at Aldershot have been going on at the time that he was in the group, or afterwards,
Before and after.
before and after? So it continued. The sort of debriefing took place during the time that he was operational, and also afterwards.
Yeah, his attitude.
Right.
And he was a big man, like he said.
Right.
I'm afraid. I walk up and down. I check my kids all the time, especially in the dark.
I'm just the dogs just stand on the wires and just yeah.
At
okay.
one
Sorry, go on,
stage,
Derek.
I think on the tapes that he was advising you never to go anywhere in the dark on a dark lanes on your own.
He told his son. His son wanted a car.
Mm-hmm.
His son wanted him to buy him a car. I'll buy you a car, he said, but don't go anywhere near Brecon and don't go down any dark lanes.
Right. Okay. Now, can you just summarise the camper van incident, the one that he told you about? You didn't get any photographs of that
No,
one,
no, nothing.
right?
Doors open, big camper van, called from RAF St Athens, went up there, circled, seen where it was,
In the helicopter.
yeah, landed, away from because decontamination or something, or scenes of something,
Right.
went over, inspected the vehicle, toys, and clothes, just ordinary things, and no engine running, lights on, never found nothing,
Right.
no bodies, nothing. That van then was taken down to RAF St Athens,
Right.
again, which would go for testing. Like you said, the Americans would be down there again.
Right. So this was just presumably a family that had gone missing. So the
Yeah.
bodies were never found
No,
in this.
nothing.
Right.
There's-
And that's another thing he said. We finding vehicles, there's nobody around, but there's no investigation to find out what happened to the people there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I'm not, casting a red herring at this stage, but am I not right in thinking that during the time that you were in touch with this guy, that he told you about an incident that had happened up in Langanada? Did he tell you that or was it on another occasion somebody told you about an incident that had taken place around about the 1st of January up in Langanada about did this not happen at the same time?
Oh, I can't say anything on tape now because I can't remember it. So I'll
Right.
just be making something up in my head.
I-
What was the name of that place?
Langanada.
Was that in Wales?
Yes, it's
Langanada.
it's at the top near Aberville.
Near Crickhowell, which is
Near
an
Crickhowell,
army camp
yeah.
there.
Now, I thought, but I'm not 100% certain about the timing of this,
Something
that George, who we called...
Oh, right, I got it.
Okay, you've
I got
remembered.
it. No. I think it was after the second time I had met George, as we shall call him, the SAS man. He phoned me up in the afternoon, in the morning, and told me, which was a Thursday, and told me to get up to Clanganada because something had come down in the night, and the military were up there.
Mm-hmm.
I went up there, I shot up there to find out, looked around, nothing. You and I went to Eberville police station.
That's right, we did.
This is in 1997.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Do you know what month?
Yeah, it was January.
Yeah,
Do
January.
you know? Can you remember the day?
First 2 weeks in January.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere.
Near
Well-
Eberville.
Yeah, we went to Eberville police station.
No, it wasn't. It was Ross something or other.
Yeah, yeah, but it's still Abbeville. It comes under the Abbeville. That's an area of industrial estate.
Right, that's
what
right.
you're on about.
Yeah. Rossiter, was it? What was the name
No,
of the place?
I'll remember it in a few minutes.
An industrial estate in Abbeville.
Yeah.
It's not.
Rossiter.
Rassa.
Rassa.
Do you know what? I've been there. I was
Rassa
there yesterday.
Industrial Estate.
I can't believe you just said that.
Well,
There's a company called Techboard there. It used to have a big factory.
Up the top.
Yeah, the biggest unit on there, Techboard. It's empty now. They're trying to let it out. I've heard that there's. Someone told me at a talk that I gave. I gave a talk in Abbeville a few weeks ago.
yeah, we heard about that.
Somebody came to me afterwards and said, "Oh, there's military activity at the old Techboard plant on that industrial estate." So I actually went there yesterday, and there was just one security guard there, nobody there.
Anyhow,
But they were saying that there's military activity there. So so carry on. With
this
that's
story,
interesting that I've-
this story about Langunada is of critical importance because Derek was informed about it by George before it was generally reported.
Right.
Because after I rang up Derek one day and I said, "There's been I said in the paper." I said, "There's something about Langunada." He said he already knew about it because George had already told him about an incident that had happened.
See, I didn't tell David. I don't tell David everything. See,
Right.
I keep things to myself and I do my own little thing.
Yeah.
But I did go up there. There was nobody around, nothing that I could see. I mean, I stayed there for about 2 or 3 hours looking around.
Right.
Told me exactly where it was. I couldn't see nothing. And a few days later, we went to Abbeville police station.
Yeah, can you just
So why would you go to the police station?
To find out what had gone on up there.
All right, just to ask them. Okay.
Can you put in the details of what we subsequently found out about what had happened in this area in Langunada, about a person who had supposedly wronged the police regarding... will you tell the story, Derek?
The lights in the sky.
That's right.
Well, what happened was in the Abbeville, and you'll still find in their archives, there was a gentleman who was in a compromising situation with a woman in a car. When he looked out, and then he seen a light in the sky, and it was bright.
Mhm.
Now he had a black car, and it was pretty new, shiny black car. Whatever happened was he phoned the police, 999.
That's right. What actually happened? I'll tell you the story, and Derek can fill in the details because we investigated this together.
So where did you get the story from?
George told us the
This is
story,
Yeah.
and
the
I
Group 5-8 guy.
and
Yeah.
I took a cutting out of the paper, and I was telling Derek about it. He said, "I already know about it."
Mhm.
Now the story is that this particular person, his car came to a stop,
Mhm.
and he couldn't start his car.
Right.
Eventually, after the light disappeared, he got out of the car. He wasn't feeling well.
Right.
He rang either the police, I think he rang the police, didn't he?
Hmm.
And when the police came, they
Searched the area and could find nothing.
that's right, but his car was covered in a white powder.
Mhm.
And he was hospitalised, wasn't he?
Hmm. Yeah.
He was taken away and hospitalised, and the car was left where it was.
Taken away though by the military.
Subsequently, he had his car returned to him, thoroughly cleaned and cleansed, and returned to him.
Right.
Now, we had problems because of the fact that we knew that this incident had taken place. We knew that it was the police station at Rassa which was concerned. I contacted the reporter in the local paper to say that I thought there was a little bit more to it than what he knew. And the reporter promised that he would tell me and find out the details. He said, "I'll have contacts with the police." He said, "Now I'll find out more details about it."
Okay.
I contacted him on 2 and 3 occasions, and he said, "There's been a complete blackout on this, that they won't give us the police won't give us the information."
Right.
Derek and I went to the police station at Rassa, and we told them that we were UFO investigators, and we wanted the details. And he said that he would get back to us, he would contact the person concerned to see if they would contact us, and they wouldn't.
Right.
Now, it subsequently turned out that one of the reasons
What he
could have been...
stated was anything that comes into the police station, once it goes onto the database, it comes under some law that they can't reveal it to the public.
Yeah. Data protection.
Yeah. He said, once it's on there, I can't say nothing.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
But don't forget that we wouldn't have known about this if it wasn't for the fact that George told Derek at the time that he was having the conversations with him that an incident had happened in this area, which is on the edge of the Brecon Beacons.
The new newspaper article in that, there was a newspaper article from their papers in Aberville, stated a man travelling from Llanganada on the Moors Road down to Newport, he was going home, he was, a lot of tosh it turned out to be, was turning, man driving from Llanganada to Newport, was electric stopped on his car, blah, lights.
Watch you've taken it off, okay.
And all the rest of it. What happened was that the newspaper said he was from Newport. So that's through everything. I mean, what Aberville police said, they couldn't get nothing. Of course, if I step forward a bit, about 2 years later, I was having my TV delivered. I was having a brand new TV delivered by Family Vision of Aberville. They're still working now. Family Vision, this gentleman was there installing my TV and satellite system and said, what do you do then? He said, what do you do? I said, I investigate UFOs. He came out with that story.
Right.
That man that was in that car with that married woman, that was him.
With the white dust?
Yeah, he wasn't from Newport, he was from Aberville.
Right, okay.
But this is how newspapers actually distort the truth. They put you miles away.
Right, so you never managed to trace the guy though?
Yeah, I was talking to him.
The guy with the powder on the car?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Spoken to him?
Yeah.
To me...
And he told you the fact that this powder landed on the car?
Yeah, and he took his car down the area of St Athens. He took it away.
To me, the interesting part about this is that this guy who was in Group 5-8 and supposedly had left because the group had been disbanded, that a couple of years later he still knew what was going on regarding an incident that took place you know, at a later date. So therefore we assume that he still had contacts with
some group that was doing the similar work that he was involved with.
He had information about this incident that had happened in Llanganada before the press. And told Derek about it.
So somebody informed him. So somebody else, I think, is still carrying on the work.
Okay.
That's that was the interesting part. You know, I'm just interrupting. That was the interesting part from my view, that this guy knew things that was happening, even though he had been discharged and the group had been disbanded.
Right. So there's maybe someone else in that group who's in contact with him.
Well, it had to be, because he wouldn't have known about it if he was in the army, was he?
Yeah.
Or somebody else. Or he might have been that he was still in.
Yeah.
Still in.
Yeah. And just told you.
And gave me a lot of flannel.
Just so he might have been lying about him being finished.
Yeah.
He might have still been in.
Yeah. Possibly. I know where he lives now. Well, I shall tell you something later. No.
Do you want to have a little break? Yeah.
What Richard has got to understand is that apart from you and I, that he's the first person that actually has had the story as it happened. Other people, i.e. that global magazine.
Yeah.
Neil Spring.
Neil Spring.
Do you want to put your mic on? And do you want to say this on mic on? We'll make a start.
Yeah, we'll come to in conclusion. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
But it's where we want to start, and I think we should start with the next bit as to what.
If you just try and straighten it up.
I think that we should. Is that okay?
Yeah. If you point it, maybe if you put it on your jumper, it might be better.
Yeah. Okay.
Useless. You can't take him anywhere.
I'll stick it there. That's
no, it needs to point towards your mouth. So maybe it was better on your coat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. If you keep it there like that. Yeah.
What we should do now is to point out what happened as a result of the conversations with George, and what happened afterwards, the threats that you received, etc., etc.
Okay.
And I'll sort of.
Okay.
I don't remember half of this because it's been such a long time.
Okay. Well, we'll see where we go, but we'll start with the photographs first, Derek. You gave your originals to Tony Dodd because you were getting a bit freaked out by the whole thing.
I was freaked out.
And you wanted to basically offload the story onto someone else. So you give the photos to Tony Dodd and you give him the contact details of this guy
and
who we're calling George.
And the transcripts.
And the transcripts.
Which I've taken down.
So you offload that onto him, and so you didn't have any photos in your possession then?
No, I sent it out because of what was happening to me at that time. I mean, I could have had an accident at any time.
Right.
Things were happening so fast and furious.
Because you'd had dealings with this Group 58 guy. You'd had problems there. The police weren't obviously going to do anything with him, and that was making you feel a bit,
Well, he had friends as well, see, in this group.
Right.
I mean, they were involved in this processing of these films. I mean, if they'd done that without their superiors' knowledge, what else could they do without their knowledge?
So Tony Dodd, he had these photos, and you think he may have made copies of what you gave
He told me he
him?
made copies.
He told you he made
But he asked me, had I had any? Had he had everything in relation to the story? And have I kept anything back? I said, no. He said, not even photographs. I said, no, you got them all.
Okay. So, and did Tony Dodd tell you where he put them, or what he did with them, or whether he gave them to anybody else?
He said he got them in. I got some in my possession. I've already put them in a safe place. He said, but there are other places. He didn't say friends, other places.
Other places, plural.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, because that's one thing that I have tried to do. David Caton spoke to his wife to try and get those, but she allegedly threw out all of his research material when he died. So.
Or could somebody have got there and said, no.
Maybe. Okay, so you were telling, if we're going to the story where someone was trying to buy the story, or did the fire happen before that? What happened first?
I think what happened immediately after you had broken contact with George, you were in touch with this magazine, Global, and you gave the story to Global, who printed it in a fashion, but there was quite a number of mistakes in it.
Yeah,
and as a result of it appearing in the Global magazine, you then began to be contacted by people who wanted to buy the story, to have the tapes, and offered you money for it. And it was ostensibly a person, a reporter from the press. I think you said he was from either the Times or the Guardian or something like this, who wanted to give the story. You refused the initial offer, which was £100 or something like that. I forget just what amount of money was involved. The person gave a phone number and an address, which turned out to be false. He phoned you again, giving you another phone number, another address, offering you more money, and you didn't give the details out because you wanted, because you were at the time receiving threats on the phone, which were saying you will never ever be allowed to print the story.
Yeah, but
this is after you've printed it in the Global magazine.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you look at the Times and the Guardian, first thing you realise is there's no way they're going to print that. That's not what their papers are all about. It's not an investigative thing.
But it was a bogus reporter wanting the story,
Right.
wanted to buy the story, and wanted to have the tapes.
Right.
And once that had failed, Derek started to receive phone calls which said categorically, you will not be allowed to tell the story. And also, were threats not made to say that they would burn your house down?
I can't remember that far back.
I think that Derek had received threats to say that they would burn his house down.
Okay. Now, when you give the story to the Global magazine, one of the things that they didn't get right is the name. It says in there Group 580 security.
No,
580,
Group
yeah.
580 was.
Group 580. Was that changed for any particular reason?
It was
went-
printed.
So it's Group 58 security.
Yeah, that's it. I went up to Littlehampton myself and took all the documents up, all the information I had. Now, they had copies of the conversation as well.
Right.
Because I think he got a little bit of transcript in it. It's not a lot.
Right.
But bearing in mind, he said, when you're doing a story, not for it to be too serious, you must put in a little bit of this, which he put, Mr. Gough believed that the car behind had a prefixed number plate of MIB. But Mr. Gough thinks this is only scare tactics, which was to lessen the blow on what people are reading. People think, whoa, you can't believe in this.
So they got you, in that article it says that you said that the registration had MIB, and that wasn't true.
No, it wasn't. No.
So they wanted to add that in. For some reason.
Yeah, but because he was having troubles as well.
Right.
Because that was going to a printer's. I think the printer's name's on the back.
Right.
But you can get copies of him. He was having trouble. They smashed up all his.
They were getting harassment. This magazine, this global magazine.
They had all their
right.
photostat machines all smashed up.
Right. Can I just ask you about the name then? So it's group and then a
5-8.
space 5 and then a space and then 8. So it's not group 58.
No.
It's group 5. Is
8.
it -8?
No, it's just group 5-8.
Group 5-8 security.
Group 5-8 security.
That's right.
Right.
Of which we believe that there was 5 members.
Right.
2 of which are in Wales,
Yeah.
or were in Wales,
hmm
but we don't know about the others.
I mean, is one of them? Would one of those be a pilot? A helicopter? Or
Nope.
would
We
the
don't
helicopter
know.
pilot
We
not
don't
be part
know
of the
anything-
group?
we don't
These
know anything
were on the
about-
ground people. They were
were on
flown.
the ground
So
people.
there was other people involved. So you're talking 5 that I knew of, but if they were flying from RAF up to Brecon,
Uh-huh.
I mean, they must have known what was going on. The
Right.
pilot.
We believe that there was another person in Group 5-8 who was Welsh.
Okay.
Yeah, but the pilots must have known something. Navigator knew something.
Yeah,
Knew something.
yeah.
That thing was on standby at all times. That thing was.
Right.
And like he said, and I said earlier on, they can't say they can't say they don't know nothing around because they're waiting for them up there, which is I call that now since that time is that's Area 51 of Wales.
George told us that if we were to go to a certain spot up in the Brecon Beacons and to do a watch there, that eventually we would see something. We did a couple of nights watching up there and we never saw anything, did we?
No, except for those balloons, weather stations, weather meteorological office.
Yeah, that was during the day though, wasn't it?
Nighttime, massive balloons, all lit up.
Right.
Big air balloons there, twice the size of this house.
Right. Okay. I mean, why do you think that is? Think that's like doing that as a cover, or
Well, we was told, I was told, I should say, of what's his name? Microbiologists.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Was it George that told us about them?
Microbiologists up there.
Was it George?
Microbiologist.
Micro.
Okay.
Which is, I can't find it now. I'll have a quick look in a few minutes when this is finished.
Mhm.
I don't know if I got it now. I think I have, but I have to go through tons of papers. I had a letter from a gentleman I just mentioned earlier on, and you said you didn't know about. We'll mention it on the tape. He'd done escape and evasion exercise. up
In that
there,
area?
In that area. On escape and evasion exercise, you got no ID, nothing on you at all. Going up, walking up, another gentleman with him, another soldier, there was a couple of them, they got separated after a couple of days, was left with 2 gentlemen, 2 of them. Going up a path, he said, and we heard a Land Rover. We ducked behind some low barbed wire fencing with some trees, because if it had been the military and they found it, they'd give them a kick in. They didn't realise they would shoot, the enemy would shoot you. Upon the Land Rover passing, I went to get up after a few minutes, and I was staring down a barrel of an M16 rifle, and belonging to that was an American soldier in combat.
Right.
He was taken from there, and I know this off bad, into a door that opened electronically in the side of the mountain, and he went down 5 levels. And each time he went down 5 levels, I don't know nothing about ballistics, each time he went down 5 levels, the gentleman that had the gun on him was changing it for a different weapon, smaller caliber,
Right.
each time he went down. He was put into a room with large headed rivets, asked who he was, explained who he was, name, rank, number, nothing else. And after 4 hours, he said they released me and then put me in a room with a large pot of coffee, American again. When they said they found out who he was, from Brecon, I imagine, Sennybridge, and they were releasing him. But first, he must sign the Official Secrets Act and the American equivalent.
So this was someone. It's a training exercise where they put you out into the woods and you've got to survive.
You've got to get from A to B then.
You've got to
innit?
get from A to B.
On military land, whilst he was
military land.
whilst he was a soldier.
Right, without any papers or anything like that.
No.
So,
That's it.
so the Americans have recovered him by accident, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've took him down into the secret facility,
Yeah.
which he's seen. So he's then had to. And do you know where the entrance was? Does he?
Oh, I know where it is.
You know where it is.
Should I tell? Well, I'll say it for the tips in Christian Forest.
Could you spell it?
Crychan, Crychan Forest.
In the Brecon Beacons it is.
It's just off the military grounds.
So can you will you be able to pinpoint it for me, Derek, on
On a map?
Yes,
on map?
possibly
Oh yes,
would be
easy,
able to,
easy pips.
Right.
It's up from Tiarabad, or Tirabad.
So
Yeah.
is the entrance actually covered with anything, or can you actually?
I know where the other entrance is though. I know where it comes out,
Right.
which is where that brown grass was
Right.
that George showed me.
Right.
The buildings, oval,
Mm,
on the crossroads.
mm.
That's where it is, but there. That's where they come out. Having signed the official secrets and the American equivalent, he was taken down a corridor where a door opened, he believed, this is what exactly what I'm saying, what he wrote to me, which he believed opened electronically, and a man came out dressed in surgical gown with blood on his hands.
Right. Okay.
He was warned not to say nothing, what he just saw, and warned what would happen if he did. He said, in my naivety, I thought I'd be disciplined, but now I'm not so sure. I was taken further down the corridor. I was put into a black utility.
When you say you're speaking from the point of view of this guy.
What he said.
Yeah, okay.
I was put into a black utility van. Now, utility is an American term. So was he American?
Right.
See? Part of the British thing. Because we would say put in the back of a van, not American. Got utility, and that's what they use.
Yeah.
And he was dropped off, and he marked a place on the map where he was dropped off, and told him to get from there on.
Right.
And that's what he done. Right. And I never said nothing to anybody. But after reading that story in that magazine, he said, "No, I'm not so sure that if I said anything, I might have disappeared." I got it upstairs.
I think at this stage, Derek, we should concentrate
Yeah,
on what happened after you'd.
Yeah, but it's all accumulation of what happening from.
So why did this guy tell you this story? Where did you learn about that story?
Because he'd seen the article in Global magazine.
He'd seen the article.
Somebody
in
had given him a magazine and
Right.
said, "Look at this," and then he recalled it. Then
Right, and he.
and my number's on the back and my address at that time.
Right. Okay. So
And
that's how
then
you
he
got
phoned me up and asked me could he have a word with me.
Right.
But he said I wouldn't say nothing on the phone because of obvious reasons.
Yes.
And I'll send this letter to you, but I don't expect it to get there, which was mail problem. You might be having mail problems.
Right.
But I did get it.
Okay. Now, if we just go back to basically you put out the story into that magazine. You then started getting contact by the press. You also give me a News of the World card, and you refused every time to give your story to them.
Yeah, I did it because it was. I had a feeling. I was so mixed up. I wanted the story out, but I didn't want no backlash yet. I just wanted rid of the story.
Let's face it, you were frightened because of the anonymous phone calls that were made to you.
To be honest,
to say that you were that you were in danger and that your story would never be allowed to be printed.
Yeah, because your life is in danger. For what? For the story that you didn't want in the beginning.
But it's at this stage that you took an interest in missing persons and found out how many people go missing in the UK and around at the time, that you realised the potential implications if it was leaked out to the press that there was people dying and being mutilated as a result of UFO activities. That would have caused a tremendous amount of furore.
Yeah, but I wasn't worried about that. I was worried about myself. I was worried about. I wanted the story out, but I didn't want no. I don't want no implications into it either. I wanted somebody to say the story, but to leave me alone then.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's not worth dying for, is it? At the end
yeah,
of the day.
Exactly. So you then, well, it was David. You were told by somebody advising Derek to get the story out.
Yeah, what actually happened, because of the flack that Derek was having, and because I could prove to a 5-year-old that my phone was definitely being tapped. I could prove no ifs or buts or maybe. We knew that our phone was being tapped. Largely because of the fact that I came home from Cardiff one day with a picture. I photocopied the picture and I took it up to Derek. Derek phoned me in the evening, looking at this picture and looking at the things. I mean, the picture turned out to be fake, but that's not the point. Derek rang me after a while to say that he had received a phone call from somebody wanting to know if the picture that they had was the same that Derek had.
Right.
Bearing in mind that the picture had only come from me to Derek's house, and we'd been talking about it on the phone.
Right.
So the people on the other side said, we want to know, does the picture that you've got coincide with the same as we've got? So Derek said, I don't have a picture. And the reply came, well, we know that you have. There's 13 silver balls on it, and it was taken in such and such a place. It was only a conversation between me and Derek that knew this.
Right.
And so somebody must have been listening in to Derek's phone call.
Just, yeah, if you don't touch your mic, because it'll...
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Somebody was tuning in to
So
Derek's
we
phone calls.
then
knew.
wrote to the Interception and Communications Bureau in
Right.
London
Okay.
to see if our phones were tapped.
Right.
What they said was, in the event we find anything, we'll write to you.
Right.
Never heard nothing.
No, well, they're not going to tell you. would
And I got those letters upstairs as well.
Right.
Right.
So,
So it was, as a result, things were building up. Derek was receiving threats. I knew my phone was tapped. He knew that his phone was tapped. Now, this culminated in I am passing a little bit of this information to somebody who was close to Tony Dodd at the time, and I was telling him what was happening. In particular, I told him of an incident that had taken place where Derek was contacted by somebody allegedly from Metropolitan Police, New Scotland Yard, who wanted to know information about Matthew Williams. Derek said, I know Matthew Williams, but I can't give you the information. Subsequently, he rang up late one evening, probably about 11:30 in the evening. This guy rang up Derek to say, there's a warrant out for Matthew Williams' address. Do you know where he is?
arrest.
Arrest.
Yeah.
Do you know where he is? So Derek said, well, no. He said, I don't know where he is. Why should I know? Well, they said, if you do find out any information, make sure you let us know, because he's wanted, warrants have been issued for his arrest, he's wanted by this, that and the other. And we believe that this person was trying to discredit Derek. Subsequently, when at 2:30 in the morning we managed to get in touch with Matthew Williams, because Derek rang up and he's at his home, we found out this story was false. So Derek rang up this guy in a Whitehall number, New Scotland Yard number, saying, what the hell are you playing at? There's no arrest warrant out for Matthew Williams. What the hell are you playing at? So the reply came back, Derek, they said, you're good at what you do. I have to apologise. He said, I was told to pass this story on to you.
Right. So if you had then come out publicly and said there's a warrant out for Matthew's arrest, it would have made you looked after as if you were lying about that.
Yeah.
So
And any subsequent stories therein, or what I was on about them, would have been blown out of the water.
This was a week before something happened in Derek's house, which I'll tell you about in a minute.
Right.
I was advised by this guy to get the story out, print it, and get it out. So, not thinking there's any urgency with it, I did an interview with Derek in his house, and I think I still have the tape with that, describing what had happened up to then, and I took the tape home, and I was actually taping it from the camcorder tape to the videotape when the phone rang, and Derek said, the bastards set fire to my house.
Right.
I just couldn't handle it. I put the phone down and I was shaking.
Right.
I was absolutely shaking. And eventually I said to my wife, I said, I've got to go up and see Derek. And I arrived up there, and Derek is there, and he's carrying things out of his house, and I was absolutely shocked and shattered. And this was Monday or Tuesday, wasn't it?
Monday, that was.
Monday or Tuesday.
1997. What month was it by now?
January.
So it's still
No,
in January.
No.
no, I think it was August.
No.
I believe
David,
that
the story, George contacted me on the 6th of January 97. That story hadn't run 2 months, and that fire happened. That was so fast moving.
Have you got a date on the newspaper that the article...
There's nothing on it. I took the paper out,
Right,
unless
okay.
I go to see if I can get the original.
Yeah, the original.
Let me recall the incidents as I remember them.
Yeah, I know, but he's going to mention Lady Dinos. Nobody near
No,
there.
let me...
That was a summer's day,
let
as
me-
you can see from a photograph.
Let me mention the things that I remember quite clearly. and that is that after this happened, and Derek had had the house set on fire, I think Derek should give the information about what happens next regarding the fire.
In regard to what?
In regard to who came to see you, where the fire started.
Yeah, tell us about the circumstances of the fire, Derek. And
well, I was talking to Neil Spring. Now, I was downstairs with my partner at the time.
On the phone you were talking to?
Yeah, I was talking to Neil Spring. On about, I had taken him up to Brecon a couple of days prior, so he was on about something. And then the phone started clicking. So I said to my partner at that time, I said, go upstairs and check this for him arseholes, excuse the expression, I'm messing about with that lamppost. Go on, she went upstairs, because there was always something on top of a lamppost where I was.
Right.
Well, BT, you know. When she went upstairs, she shouted down, the place was on fire.
Right.
Which was my office. I used it as my office as for Global. Opened the door, smoke just
so you were downstairs on the phone?
Then the phone went off.
Right.
So I kept saying hello. Of course, run upstairs then, opened the door, which is a fire door anyway. God, it was full.
Oh, it was a fire door?
Yeah, it's a fire door, yeah.
Right.
It was a big heavy thing with a chain on it, you know.
Right. Is this in your house then?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
But it had, well, everything had gone up. I had a little budgie in a corner that had gone. Well, I couldn't see nothing. Just totally gone.
So how do you think that was started then?
Well, I just came back from the East Hospital in Cardiff with my partner at that time. She had an appointment. I come back about 1 o'clock. I must start at about 20 past. Just started nothing. Nobody had been in that office. I came in, went downstairs, phoned, made a cup of tea. She made a cup of tea. I phoned Neil Spring, and then shit hit the fan.
Right.
And that's outside. I ran outside, shouting. Couldn't use my phone because it had already melted. The wiring, because it went downstairs. And I phoned Nevu. I rang, shouted to a Nevu who's living across the road, phoned the fire brigade, screaming my head off. So he rushed in. You could see the smoke coming out. Massive office it was, bigger than this. As I turned around, I had to make sure my partner was out. I had to go back in to get my Yorkshire Terriers, because I couldn't leave them in there. They were downstairs, but of course it's still a fire. So somebody shouted at me, don't go back in, so I grabbed them out. But of course, as soon as I come out and passed the dogs on to someone else, I looked and there's this battered Mark III reddish blue skip. 3 people got out of it.
When you say skip, you mean a car?
Yes, sir. Police officers. I want your name, he said. I said, well, you know my name, I was in school with you. Don't mess with me about, he said, I want your name and your date of birth. I said, I was in school with you. PC Edwin.
Irwin.
Edwin.
Or Edwin. Okay.
But 3 of them there. I said, like, somebody only just put the phone down from the fire brigade. What were they doing there? They would. I didn't even see them turning up. They were just there. Like,
so they were there before the fire brigade got there?
They were there. When I came out of the house, they were there. As soon as I passed the dogs over,
right,
looked like that, they were there. Right. But they were sitting in the car. Because when I looked at
uniformed?
No. Plain clothes. Yeah. They come out of their car. I want your name and your date of birth. I said, I was in school with you, man. I said, your name, I should call you Boggle Eyes.
Right.
No, don't be funny now, he said, because I want your name. I said, oh, here we go. Said the same thing again. They got a bit of stroppy. See the other one coming around then. Then my partner said, oh, give me a name. So I said, you know, I am Derek Gough, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Date of birth. And then, well, fire brigade, it seems forever, doesn't it, to turn up. They came in, went through the doors, extinguished the fire. Man in white hat came, which is the chief, fire chief, whatever his name was. Took me into the room. This is where the fire started, he said. I pointed to the floor. That's how it started there. Started in waste paper basket. There's a waste paper basket was over there, next to my computer.
Right.
We had night vision goggles. Or everything pertaining to that investigation was mixed in with it. Information, recordings and blah, blah. But that's only part, what's in there is only part of the bluff that was going on.
Right.
In other words, that story said everything pertaining to that investigation was finished. See?
Right. Right.
That's how clever he was. Not to have any backlash.
Not quite sure I understood that.
Well, what he said was, when that magazine, after the fire, the second part was, all matters pertaining to the investigation in regard to Group 58 has now been lost due to the fire.
Ah, right, okay.
Which takes the heat off me, somebody thinking, you've lost everything.
So the global article was in 2 parts.
Yeah.
And the second part was after the fire.
Yeah.
Was it? So you've deliberately put in there that you've lost all the information to keep the heat off you.
Yeah.
Right.
Not so clever, mine, was it? Because it was...
Can I just bring in the next bit of incident as I remember it?
Yeah.
Derek said to me that on the, I think it was on the Wednesday or the Thursday, the upstairs had been destroyed and is totally black, but the downstairs living place, you know, you could still live there.
Excuse me.
So he's downstairs and he got the electricity turned back on and the phone back on. There was a phone call that came through. Now this is what Derek told me. And Derek answered the phone and they said, this is the gas board or the electricity board. Can we come and read your meter? And Derek said, yeah, you can come and read the meter. And so his partner said, who's that? Well, it's somebody wanting to read the gas or the electricity meter. And at which stage Kath turned pale and she said, they came on the Monday, the day before the fire. And she said, I thought there was something suspicious because when they knocked on the door at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they produced a card which said, they gave the person's photograph, electricity board or gas. Was it gas or electricity?
Gas.
Gas. And they said they wanted to come and read the meter. So Kath showed them into the room where the fire started. They rang the meter. And she went up in arms. She said, bloody hell, she said, they've come to read the meter the day before the fire. What the hell is happening? Kath threw a temper and said, if you don't stop all this nonsense, that you're putting my life at risk, I'm off.
Oh, said that to Derek?
Yes.
No, that was on the Sunday. They read a meter on a Sunday. After the fire,
yeah,
you got it wrong. After the fire,
I said after the fire.
They came to read the gas meter again. But why would you have done it when you already done it Sunday? Why would you come back? So the gentleman that run Global said to me that he had information. They came the Sunday to put something in place, whatever it may be, as I tried to describe, which I wouldn't know
an incendiary maybe.
Whatever. And then on the Wednesday or Thursday, they came to see what damage had been done.
Yeah.
Or to let you know.
Well.
Let you know what?
To put the frighteners up in, to let them know that the gas board or the electricity board are coming again to read your meter and to make the connection that it might not have been the gas board that they come in the first place.
Yes.
Well, I was told after that these people, or wherever they may be, can turn up in anything. It could be a bus, it could be an ice cream van, they can muster anything.
Anyhow, as a result of...
If a gas board comes to a van to your house on a Sunday night and is Wales gas on the front, on the side of it, what do you expect? That's how it is.
This is my recollection now, that Derek might disagree slightly, but my recollection is that by the time it came to the end of that week or the next week, that my wife and I was going on holiday. When we went on holiday and we came back, Derek has disappeared. I'm ringing him and ringing him and ringing him, and I can't get in touch with him. And I'm worried about him because of what happened with the fire. And it's only subsequently, a couple of weeks later, that I had a phone call from Derek. I said, where are you? He said, I can't tell you. I said, what's happened? He said, my wife has threatened to leave me if I don't give up on all this UFO investigation nonsense. Her life and the life of herself and his life and the dogs and all the rest of it is not worth all this hassle. So I'm in hiding. He disappeared.
Right.
He'd gone to live somewhere else.
Right.
And it wasn't until about 5 or 6 weeks later that eventually we met up again.
Right.
So in other words, this is just to get the idea of the fear that had been put into Derek regarding what had happened,
Yes.
the fear that his family had of what happened, and the fear of what would happen if he continued to specify and to give out, to continue his investigations at the time.
And all because I was stupid enough to write a poster asking anyone if you've seen any lights in the sky in the night. That's all it was about.
Yeah.
Something simple. I wanted a bit of excitement, look at something in awe. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I had my awe, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So where does the story go from here?
Can I sort of progress from this as to your arrest
In Brecon.
in Brecon? Some months later,
Oh, it's got to be 8, 9 months. Easy.
9 months later, and I'm still in contact with...
So this would be what, 1998 now? You're talking?
Yeah, 98, yeah. Yeah.
Some months later, and I'm in touch with Derek, and is interested in this sort of things. And Derek had received information from a market trader in Merthyr Market of mysterious explosions and noises that was coming to his property on the edge of the Brecon Beacons. So he began to be interested into what was happening in that area again. I rang Derek up at about 9:30 to say that there'd been an earthquake up in Sennybridge and that it was on the news. Derek said, well, he said, I must drop everything. He said, I must come. It was the 9 o'clock news, BBC News it was, when the BBC News at 9 o'clock. I think it was 9 o'clock. So Derek said, will you come up with me? I said, no. I said, I can't. I said, I'm working I've got to be in work 7 o'clock in the morning, so I can't come up. So I went to work the following morning, and at about 11 o'clock I had a phone call from Derek to say, it's a good job you didn't come with me. He said, because I spent the night in Brecon Police Station. I said, never. I said, tell me about it. So Derek said that he had gone up there because I told him that the news said that there was investigation or a team coming up from either Bath or Bristol University to investigate the earthquake that was up there, that had happened up there. He said, I went to the place where we normally go to watch. I think he said he went to a pub to see if anything was happening, could find out what was happening. But he parked up at a place where he's perfectly entitled to park on a road, and came back down. And I think Derek had better describe what happens next.
Well, I was hiding in this little, still part of the military. I was off the road. Technically, I was on military ground.
Right.
So I was up on, so after about an hour and a half, the reason why I went up there is because of explosions, earthquake, but I thought of what George said as well, see, the things that are happening up there. But by that time, everything started ebbing down inside my being, myself, like.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, is something going on up there? I wanted to be the first to.
Right.
So
you're still curious. You hadn't given up the UFO thing altogether.
I had for 6 months, but it had started raining off there, so I thought I was back in then.
Yeah.
So I went up there, parked up, watched, nothing. I left there. So I left him down halfway, which is the big where I think that satellite system is. Went down the hill, back through Senny Bridge. Back through Senny Bridge. I was coming on up to Story Arms, where there's a crossroad, main from Brecon. As soon as I turned the corner, a bend, I could see a blue stripe. I could see it in the mirror as I looked, like my brake lights were on. I looked in the mirror, like I could see blue and yellow stripes. I thought, oh, that's how you did, you know. Were they? So they went on that bend. One came in front of me, blocked me off. One came from behind.
Two cop cars.
T5s.
Were there 2 or 3 cop cars? 2.
T5.
What's
a T5?
It's a Volvo, massive things, estates.
Yeah.
Get out of the car. Open the door, you know. I had a Citroen, white it was. Get out of the car. What's your name? I said, Derek Gough. I said, well, you already got that from my number plate, haven't you? Where have you been, he said. I said, oh, I just come back from Newtown, which I can come back through that way from Newtown Powers. No, you haven't, he said. I said, where have I been? And he said, you'd been up on a military ground, so they knew where I'd been.
Yeah.
So somebody was watching me, wasn't he? So I blamed him, I did, after. Cut a long story short, because he sent me up there. But I was handcuffed, thrown on top of a police car. I mean, literally thrown. Slammed in the back of a car after being dragged off the bonnet. Thrown in the back of the police car. So I was trying to talk to these coppers on the way down. What was you doing up there? Took my video camera, full size one, big shoulder job.
Yeah.
Took me down to Brecon Police Station. Sat there, signed me in, and I was gagging for the smoke. Wasn't allowed to smoke. Wanted to drink of water, couldn't have water. Put in a little cell, no size in that door. I was crouching in there. Then they came out. What was you doing up there?
Wait a minute, did they not take your clothes off?
Oh, hang on. That's before they started the nonsense.
Right.
That was just the interview preliminary. That was by the desk sergeant and some other gentleman, should we say.
But did you say to them, well, I'm interested in UFOs, so I've been...
Oh, no, I already then, George was clicking in. The story about George.
So you didn't want to say anything?
No. So I thought, oh, hang on now. To myself, I thought. But then I didn't want to be sound like an idiot saying UFOs. So I said, came from Newtown, because I knew people up in Newtown anyway, because I had been investigating up there. But anyway, they took my camera and that went somewhere. I think I went out to Senny Bridge.
Right.
Because they took the tape out. What's on the ad, he said? It was, oh, I don't know. I said, oh, the eclipse. The eclipse was on it. Because we'd done the eclipse down Pontypridd somewhere during that day. So we just filming the eclipse. Very plain it was, wasn't it? We couldn't see nothing. But anyway, they took us somewhere. Next minute then, slammed back in the thing, give me a cup of water. 2 gentlemen came in. All right, Derek? And when people start talking nice to me, I get suspicious. And I said, take your clothes off, but, he said. And when they say but, he's Welsh. That's all they say around is but. So I took my clothes off. I said, what are you taking my clothes off for? Just for testing, is all he said. So they give me one of these white suits.
Right.
You put your feet into and bunny gloves like that.
Okay.
But I said to him at the time, all I want now is a pair of ears. I said, look like a bloody rabbit.
Right.
So I was sat there. All my clothes are gone. Don't know where they're gone. What's in the car? He said. Engine, tyres. Don't try to be funny. He said. I said, nothing is in the car. What's on the tape? I said, well, you've got the tape. Have a look at it. He said, we believe you've been filming up. I said, I haven't filmed nothing up there. I said, the only thing I was on there is the eclipse of this afternoon. Anyway, they'd started taking my seats out. All my seats had gone missing. Took them all out. Ripped all my roof off. All the covering inside my roof. Left me with a shell. Kept badgering me then, and then we had the nice man and the horrible man. One banging a table, like I said, well, I was no good banging the table, man. I said, don't make no difference to me. The other one, do you want a fag, Derek? Yes, please. I said, I wouldn't mind. Being polite with him, like, not being obnoxious. Give me a cigarette and talking, put his fag out, took his fags with him. Next minute, the other one would come in. He would do the same, banging the table. If I got to get up from this table once more, he said, I said, what are you going to do? But at the end of the day, they said, I thought, oh, bugger this, because I remembered then what George said, that you could disappear. And don't forget, I was in Brecon. There's 2 people come to see you, he said, which I now believe, I can't say for certain, that they came from Sennybridge military camp.
Right.
Right, he said, we're from Sennybridge. That's all I need to know. There's no police station in Sennybridge. So they said, what were you doing up there then? I said, I've been up to Newton. I said, I thought I could. No. He said,
so could I just interrupt you there, Derek? Do you think that this interrogation was because of the previous story of the mutilation stuff, or do you think this is totally unconnected?
No, I think it's connected because of what was the microbiologists, the earthquakes going on up there, my connection with this earthquake. But
what do you think, David? I mean, is it? You've known Derek a long time.
What particularly impressed me was a quote from Derek, because Derek said, they said to Derek, they said, what sort of car do you drive? What was your previous car to this one? And they said, and where do you live? And etc. But they asked what his previous car was, and he didn't give the one previous to what he had. He gave the one, no, not that one. They said the previous one. So my belief is that they knew, and they had a file on Derek, and they knew his present car, his previous car, and everything about him. I believe that was upon the computer, because Derek said they had a computer there.
Yeah.
I believe that he was on file there.
Right.
Anyhow, continue, Derek, because...
Anyway, I was taken from Brecon police station then.
No, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Put I had my bunny suit on then. But I thought then, there's no way I'm going from here, because I might end up up at top there. I might end up on the top and disappear.
Missing,
because I thought of those people that had gone, you know, and that girl and boy, that flashed in my mind. So I thought, bugger this. So I fell on the floor.
Right.
More than once. Eyes rolling in the back of the head. I knew what to do. I thought, bugger this for the game of marbles, I'm off.
But then the fate.
They come down, sorting me out, and I hear him in the background, my eyes are rolling in my head. Oh my God, he said, we've been in trouble for this. This 2 men said, and they were from Sennybridge. Get him from there, they said. And they had these police officers from Brecon police station. No, he said, we want to have a couple more minutes with him. Not the way he's bloody looking. He said, pick me back up. You all right? Glass of water. Down again I went. I tell her, my clothes appeared like there was no tomorrow. Get them on, he said. You're out.
Who said you're out? The police or the ones from Sennybridge?
The police. They stayed in the background. Signed a document saying I was released to go. Give him my car keys. Went out. Everything was back to normal.
But
except for my roof.
Right.
my recollection of the last thing that happened is that just before he left the police station, because Derek told me that the police said to him,
I was undressed in front of a window, fully naked, which is
which looks out on the street.
People are out on the street.
Right.
It was just humiliation.
Was this in a police station?
Yeah, Brecon police station.
Brecon police station.
But my recollection is that the last thing that was said to Derek before he went out to the police station, the uniformed police said to Derek, they said, if you ever come up in this area
I'm not
again,
allowed.
we are not responsible for what might happen to you.
I'm banned. I'm banned from Brecon.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
They never come up this area ever again.
Right.
And he said, oh, we see what's on the film. He said, there's an aeroplane. I said, yeah, that's the aeroplane. It was taking people to look at the eclipse at that time. And because it stops you dead in the tracks, so you don't do nothing for another couple of weeks again. But it's still always there in the back of the mind, see, that excitement of doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Right. So just remind me, you've got Sennybridge. How far away is that from this observation point that you mentioned earlier? Saint, what did you say?
About half a mile.
What was it called, the observation point?
Well, where the things come out of the ground.
Oh, halfway?
Yes.
Oh, well...
Half a mile,
Got to quote Tricastle.
Yeah.
Halfway, Tricastle, Sennybridge.
Mile away.
What's it called where the thing comes out of the ground? Or
Well, it's part of the military range.
You said it was...
You pass through, you go from Sennybridge.
Saint something you mentioned?
Sennybridge.
Oh, sorry.
You come from Sennybridge into Tricastle.
Right.
And then the next place then is halfway. It's a little village halfway.
Oh, halfway, right.
And as you're halfway down that road, you see a little old motel on the left-hand side. You turn right by a church and you go up and it's like that. There's one road up and one road down.
As the crow flies, the distance between Brecon Police Station and the place where the military land is, where we believe that these
an
observation places, it's probably about a mile as the crow flies.
Right.
Maybe 2 miles. No,
2 miles apart from the
maybe
police
2
station
miles.
because it's in the town itself.
We can print out a map and you can point that out.
I've got a map now, right?
Yeah, I've got a nod in the survey map.
Where?
Actually, will it be on the map that I've got, that
No.
I showed you? That's a different area.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
I could point it out on a nod and survey map, you know.
Right. Right, okay. We'll point that out.
But that's what occurred to me.
Well, we ended up going to a pub in Tricastle.
Yes.
Many a night. Because it's so close to there. This is where that gentleman who was poaching salmon, because military explosives were going missing from Sennybridge
All right, yes.
at that same time.
Right.
And what he was doing, he's pinching dynamite, a soldier, and selling it to someone in the village and throwing them in dams up in Rossum Way where there's salmon places.
I'm going to recap slightly because there's an incident that happened relevant to when Derek was arrested. Derek and I had been up in that area on a previous occasion, and when we went up there, we didn't stop. We didn't do anything we should do. We drove up to a place. We had a look around, and we came back. As we were coming back onto a road, Derek said, "Watch that car." This is in the afternoon. Watch that car behind us because he's following us. So I'm watching it. We turned right, and the car pulled in at some shops. We carried on just at a normal speed, and we're coming out onto the main road. And Derek said, "I'm sure that car was following us." Bearing in mind, we'd left him parked by some shops, and we're taking a small road by there. When we came out of the main road, the car, which had been stopped behind us, he overtook us at a rapid speed and disappeared into a farmhouse.
Right, that's okay.
Disappeared into a farmhouse. And Derek said, "There you are, he's following us."
Don't touch it.
Yeah, if you touch it, it'll make noise. So there you are, he's
So
following us.
then we went onto the A470, and when we got onto the A470, the car, which had been, Derek thought was following us, which had overtook us at speed and gone into a farmhouse, was in front of us.
Right.
And I said to Derek said, "That's the car." I said, "It can't be." He said, "It's got to be." So we revved up the speed up to 70 miles an hour, and he's still 100 yards in front of us. We've dropped down to 10 miles an hour, and he's still in front of us. So I thought, bloody hellfire, that car in front of us is following us from in front. So Derek said, don't worry, he said, I'll sort it out now. So we let him get far enough in front. When we came to go roundabout, we upped and disappeared because Derek knows the roads up there. Now, Derek said to me that when he was interviewed at the police station, that the police said to him, you've been up here before. This is when he was interviewed at the police station when he was there before. And they said, you've been up here before. We know you have.
Right.
And so Derek said, yes. He said, I've been up here before. Who were you with? He said, I was with a woman. No, you weren't. There was a man with you. So they knew that we'd been up there before. And Derek said to me, don't worry. He said, I didn't say who it was.
Right.
I hope you bloody well didn't.
I used to go up there without telling him. I'd go up there for nights on end.
But you and I had been up there and been followed, and they knew that we'd been up there before, because the people there had been told him that they knew that he'd been up there with somebody else.
See, the trouble with when you take somebody somewhere, up in Brecon, if you open a pot of coffee or eat an orange, you can hear you from miles away.
Right.
And some idiot was drinking coffee that night and opened a bag of crisps. And you can hear it.
Yeah, if you just leave your mic, David, because it'll...
I had to run back down and say, stop it, because like George told me, they're trained. I can smell, if you light a fag up from 5 miles away, I'll find where you are. Or oranges,
This
anything.
is George, the
Group 58.
Group 58 guy.
If you're going up there, there's no aftershave, no underarm stuff, no smellies, shampoo.
Yeah.
Don't bath for a week if you're going to go up there.
Right. Doesn't detect you.
Yeah. Well, I did go up there for more than once.
Do you want to...
I had him stepping over me because I was on the ground. And he stepped on my back.
Right.
But I only went down because I was, to be honest, because I was somewhere where I shouldn't have been.
Right.
But I haven't gone up there since because I know the implications of ending up that if I do go up, he wants to go up, I won't go up again. I might go up to show somebody in the daylight, but I won't.
So this is near where the observation point is?
Too close. It's in the same area.
Right. But you think, I mean, do you think that there's an observation point there because that's where most of the cases occur, or...?
No, it's supposed to be a missile components place, alleged.
Right.
But I can't see it because it's just a building. But there's a lot of red lights, infrared lights around it, with hundreds around it.
Right.
But that might be where that thing comes out of the ground.
I'll say this for the benefit of the tape, that independently, somebody in the military told me that there's 8 miles of underground tunnels around there.
And how far is this from, you know, the story of the guy who got captured and went down 4 levels? How close is this to there?
The same area.
Same
It's
area.
the same area? Okay.
Yes.
Of
So
course,
that's separately corroborated then from that?
Yeah, but what they say is, from what I've learnt is that the Forestry Commission and the MOD work hand in hand together. The Forestry Commission does the trees, they know what's going on there, and it's an happy medium.
We've seen
And you've got to have clearance.
We've seen a helicopter landing in a wooded area, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think I mean, obviously, you probably don't know the answer to this question, but what's your feeling for what's actually going on the ground there? I mean, is it just, you don't think it's an ET base?
There's a what?
You don't think there's extraterrestrials down there or anything like that? Or they're working in You don't know?
It's just impossible to imagine.
There's something there because of what that gentleman, with the name I give off the tape after, was where he seen that man coming out dressed in a surgical gown with his hands in the
they're
air.
doing some kind of surgery underneath there, possibly.
Well, what's a
Oh,
microbiologist
no.
doing up there?
You've heard microbiologists are up there as
Well,
well.
what were they doing up there? We went up there one day, and I did. I went up on numerous occasions. There's so many ways out of that place up in Brecon. It's unbelievable. There's roads going off everywhere. I was told by a military man to sit in a certain place at 3:30 in the afternoon, and you'll see him coming down escorted by military vehicles. Well, I sat there like a muppet for too many length of time I couldn't imagine, only to find out they'd come out on a different entrance, miles away. And when I was going down there, they were on the place I'd been yesterday. So,
Right.
and they are black van, or utility as they call it in Americans, and military MPs in front and MPs in the back.
You know, you said that this George told you that the UFOs usually come from a certain...
From north, yeah.
From the north.
They come in at an angle like that, he said. That's what he said, like that. They come in at an angle.
Right. But what about... I've heard of cases where they come from St Bride's Bay area, you know, the south west part of Wales. You didn't mention anything like that.
In that Neil Springs land, that is.
No.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
That's where that... There's a mist... Oh, I know where that is. That's where that hotel is, right by the coast. Have you heard about that place?
Oh, yes, in Pembroke. Stackrock.
Stackrock.
Right.
I've never heard of
That's the Welsh Triangle
Yes.
Paget's
Right.
place.
Yeah, Stackrock.
So, what the George guy said, I mean, what you think they're coming down from, what, the Pennines or what sort of region?
Well, he
Well,
said they're coming in through the north. Through the north.
In
So
through
I
the
imagine what he said at the time, that they come in northwest from North Poland,
Right, okay.
northern.
Yeah, from
So maybe-
Scotland.
And they can't say they know nothing about them because they're waiting for them.
From Scotland.
Yeah.
Because
Now-
he said there was a lot of things taking place in
Oh
Scotland.
yes,
he-
he's been up to Scotland as well.
Right.
There's a lot of
So he gave you the impression that they had advanced warning of when they were going to appear,
Yeah.
on what nights. And do you think that was because it's always certain dates, or do you think they're monitoring activity somewhere else, or is there a timetable?
They did give you dates, didn't they? Wasn't it October to March or something like that?
yes, October. Yes, winter time. Always winter.
Winter, okay.
Like you said, if you go up to Scotland, it's such an inhospitable place, further north than what's that place in?
Bonnybridge.
Yeah, so far north up there that nobody ever sees nothing because it's a farmhouse here, a
remote.
farmhouse there, and the weather's so terrible. He said, but that's where they come. He said I was dropped off there. It took them an hour to get up there, so I don't know if they went in. I mean, to go from yard up there,
Could have been a helicopter or a jet even, I suppose.
would they got up in an hour?
Oh, well, yes. Oh, well,
Maybe not in a helicopter.
from St Athan in a plane, they'd be up there in an
In a
hour.
plane.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 250 miles.
But you said that this George said that they had access to any plane.
Yes, anything.
They did, yes.
So they would possibly get in a jet then, go elsewhere, be piloted by another helicopter up
And
there, and
I
then
think that
If they had to
George
go by
also-
road, he said they would escort it by military police.
I
Right.
think that George also said that he used to go to the continent,
Right.
He mentioned
Yeah.
Germany.
Germany. I got the original documents around here
You
somewhere.
see, so that suggests then that the British are in charge of this problem, if you call it a problem, wider than just the British Isles. That they leave that to us, do you think, or you don't know?
I
I
think
mean,
it's-
Tony Dodd used to think that there was an undersea ET base in the North Atlantic Ocean, just south of Iceland. That's what he's... I think he might discusses that in his book, where he's in touch with Icelandic fishermen via mobile phone, watching UFOs coming out of the ocean.
I've heard about it.
Do you want me to say, for the sake of the tape, what Tony Dodd told us at that conference in Birmingham?
He told us about your dad. Have you got the information?
Yeah, I've had to
Yeah.
tell him. put it on the
We
tape.
already know that.
Yeah, but I didn't put it on the tape.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's
Do you want me to-
what he
Go on,
said?
yeah, well, fire away.
We sought out Tony Dodd at a conference in Birmingham and was telling him, this is before Tony Dodd had all the details, because I think it's only subsequent that Derek decided to send them. We spoke to Tony Dodd and we told him that we had tapes and details about this. And Tony Dodd said, I'm sitting at a table with Derek, just Tony Dodd's up there, and Tony Dodd said, well, he said, if you've got information about this, be very, very, very careful, because otherwise they will kill you for it. And it's not long after that the fire took place.
Right. And just to point out for the tape as well, that you, when you handed the stuff to Tony, Tony was then in touch with George,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and then got more information from him.
Yeah.
I'm not
So-
aware of that.
But what Tony
Dodd
does say, he's very, he's a very clever man. He only gives little bits out at a time.
Tony?
No, the George.
Oh, George.
Yeah, the Group 58 man. He only gives. He's trying to get more to me than what he's giving me back. Because George wants to know what he knows.
Right.
And if he thinks he's knowledgeable in it, George will tell him more.
There's-
And he said, I found out a hell of a lot more than what you did.
Tony Dodd did.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a dangerous part of this tape and this recording, and that's this, that George still exists and he still lives in Wales. He doesn't live where he used to live, but he still lives in the area. And the distinct probability is, if this information was to leak out and the authorities were to find out, they would know who George was and they'd know who we are. So therefore, this...
And he's living down near that neck of the woods, see? RAF, St Athens.
Right. Oh, St Athens.
Yeah, he's living at RAF St
Oh,
Athens.
right. St Athens. That's a strange name, isn't it? So this is
It's
where
a military base.
Oh, it's
St
massive.
Athens. How far is St Athens from, the observation point?
Oh, 30 miles. St
Right.
Athens is on the
And
coast.
You think that's where...
Brecon's up there.
Right.
I mean, well, over there. And that place is
Yeah.
south, right south.
You see,
So
from,
St Athens, you think, is where they're taking all of the evidence from whatever they recover?
It's taken from wherever down to St Athens
Right.
for, like George said, they look at it down there.
Right. Okay. So there's obviously that's an American base then.
That's what he told me.
Yeah.
But what he said was, when they were up in that Brecon, I wish I'd kept the tape, see, cause you could have told by his now, the way he was talking about things. When he were talking to this American, he said there was a man with him, and this is no lie, it appears that he's got no voice. He doesn't say nothing, but people are doing things with him.
Right.
But he doesn't say nothing to him.
Right. Unusual.
See, and if we're talking about the Brazil case, and then you're talking about this man that told me the story, what's the chances of him concocting a story out of one man in a magazine that came out in the 1970s? Or a book?
And plus, you'd have to fake the photographs that
Yeah,
they showed
exactly.
you as well.
Yeah, but today they could have done that, can't they? They can do that now.
Yeah, not as easy as in 1997.
No.
It would not to make them convincing.
So there's no chance that I can imagine. I mean, I've been into UFOs since I was a child, especially in the late 60s and 70s. I was reading all Eric Von Dunkins and all them. But if you look at the story that he gives me in relation to what I know about it, I don't know nothing about it. One case, I mean, you just flip the page on that one. No, I don't bother with that. He probably burnt in a fire or some animal had him. Right. But when you look at it in retrospect after, and then you find out it's happening a hell of a lot more than one. But see, if it's not in the paper, it's not happening. If it's not in the book, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So if you don't hear about it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.